Morning, everyone. Just gonna do a little bit of discussion again this morning. It's just so much like absurd things happening. It's where do you start? I think the main important thing we have to do every day is you have to shed all the darkness, all the grossness, all the difficulties of yesterday before you go to sleep, as you go to sleep, and especially the next morning. You can't drag our weight from one day to another to another. We need to understand that things are happening, and there's a pretty big plan, not just on the side of, you would say, darkness, but also on the side of light. Sometimes we get wrapped up in the darkness plan and forget about the plan that the light has. And sometimes darkness has to be revealed before it can be shown. You have to allow it to come out of the shadows so you can shine the light on it completely and be able to transform it. And that's important sometimes, and that's sometimes hard to see. As a human being, it's hard to see the things that other human beings are capable of doing. And almost like they're not even part of the human race. They're part of a messed up, twisted form of society that is based on sexual pleasure and innuendo and massive egos, and all about narcissistic control of the human race at an extreme scale. The one thing we always forget as a human being, we only live a short period of time. So there is really no control of anyone. It's just simply you have to live with that outcome for a certain period of time, with those people for a certain period of time, but after that you're free. The problem is what happens to the souls of the people that are twisted, are messed up. They're stuck in their hell on earth, hell after earth, whatever. It could go on and on and on for many, many, many centuries. So they're the ones that are in severe pain, and the ones that see that, we do have to live with that, and it can be really, really difficult. But we're the ones that are truly free, and they're not able to see that they're never in control. We just have to remember that we are in control. We have control over our own souls. When we give in to them and let them control us, is when we start becoming more like them. So no matter what happens to you physically, your soul is always free if you choose it to be. I think that's a very important message. And sometimes we have to see darkness for what it is in order to be able to move past it into another level of existence. And if worse comes to worse, and the human race wants to go down this dark, twisted version of reality, then when we pass, we just go choose a different path, or choose to come back and help these lost souls again. It's really up to us. But do they have a choice, though? If they're lost in their own hell space reality, how long does it take them to actually come out of that if nobody truly helps them? I think this is part of the insanity of coming here, is trying to help these absurd souls to wake up. The worst part about it is some of these absurd souls were friends at one time. So we remember what they're like. We remember the good side of their soul. And we might even be friends with the good side of the soul on the other side. We could be lovers with them. we come here, we understand who they are. We understand the pain and why they are the way they are, but in this physical reality, we forget about that. So there's so much more behind the scenes that we might not even be aware of. That's why it's so important to stay true to yourself, no matter what happens around you. It is hard, though, at times to be able to stay positive, to stay full of love, when you're getting beaten down constantly by society, by people. But that makes you stronger and stronger and stronger, and then we're like, fuck, man, we already know this shit. Why do we have to keep going through it? We know it, but the reason we keep going through it is because there's other people that don't. And we know the value of their souls when they come back to light, bring their own darkness into balance. So that's part of the reasons why we keep coming back. But I can tell you, it is not easy at times, is it? When you look at the human race constantly in war, constantly in chaos, liars, cheats, manipulative people, narcissistic assholes that constantly want to rule us, maybe we're part of the problem. Maybe we're not putting them in their place. And not in a negative way, but in a blunt way. Standing up for what is right. Become leaders ourselves, instead of having those people become leaders. What happens when you have a good leader? Society flourishes really fast. It can become utopia really quickly. Why is that? Because when you have a good leader, you're passing laws that help everyone. They're helping everyone, not the specific people, but everyone. And that also creates situations where the society helps each other, and it's a chain reaction. And then you got the person that's, you could say, in the ghetto, that no longer is in the ghetto anymore because the ghettos don't exist. Because you go in there, you clean it up, you give people food, shelter, rebuild. Give them equal opportunities. No matter where you're from, what color your skin is. We should eliminate race and simply call the human race, or simply give us a name for everyone on earth, and stop calling each other Indians, blacks, whites, Mexicans, Spanish. Let's just simply call each other a name that is the same for everyone, that represents everyone that lives on this earth. You can still have culture, because culture is beautiful. But instead of asking somebody where you're from, or what race are you, like where you're from is basically asking what race they are. It's like, I know there's something important about understanding where a person comes from. But if we stop and think about it and eliminate race, we can replace it with something else. Because not everyone in India is Hindu or Buddhist. It's a stereotype. There are a lot of Hindus and Buddhists in India, but there's also a lot of other religions as well. A lot of other cultures. There's a lot of cultures in India. I don't think people realize that. There's small differences, more so than even in Canada and the United States. But if you look at Canada and the United States, they're full of different multicultural people. We still don't call each other Canadians. We do as a secondary thought. Maybe this is where I think a lot of people lose themselves, is because it's the first thing it's a go-to, you know? Like, even if you're Canadian, instead of calling each other Canadians, we call each other something else. Well, where are you from? Where's your heritage from? Where's your grandfather? Where's your father from? Where do they originate from? You see the issue, which is part of the problem. You know, when you become friends with somebody, you start to understand them. So maybe we should just call each other a specific name to represent everyone on Earth. Not all black people are from Africa. Not all white people are from Europe. So you start to realize that there is so much multicultural in the world that white people can be anywhere in the world. Black people can be anywhere in the world. Mexicans can be anywhere in the world. So why do we keep putting these stereotypes in each other? Anyway, it's something to think about. I know it's hard to make changes when you're not in a situation to make changes, but even when you're in a situation to make changes, people don't want change. But there has to be change. There has to be. If anything showed me in this last few years, change, it has to happen. For the sustainability of the human race, there has to be change. And not a change that enslaves us, a change that sets us free. We are capable to do great things. Not when we're overworked, can barely even function in society because you're just completely stressed out, worn out from everyday life. That is the fault of our leaders. You do realize that. Our leaders are failing us as a society. They're failing us. They're creating these issues. They're exaggerating the issues. They're prolonging them. They're not actually helping us. They say they are, but they've been proven time and time again that they do not. So what do we do as a society to change that? And I know I keep talking about this, but this is important. People need to think about this. We need to look at our governments, not overthrow them, but change them up. Really look at ways of making things work better. Hold governments accountable. If they break the law, they go to jail just like we do. Wouldn't that change things? Oh, you're laundering money into your own business or your own family business? Well, sorry, that's illegal. What do you mean? Yeah, you got to go to jail. You go charged, you get put in prison. How many times is that going to happen? They're going to straighten themselves up pretty fast because a lot of them that are doing this are cowards. They do things behind closed doors, so when you shine a light on, they're like cockroaches trying to hide. The people that are the most powerful are the ones that have been suffering all these years putting up with this bullshit and still being good people. They're the true leaders. And they're the people we need to put in a situation because they understand what people are going through. They understand how to correct problems because they lived those problems. They already came up with a solution to those problems. But the question I ask everyone, are you going to put a person like that an ability to make decisions that will change the world. Because all that's going to happen is one thing: with this person smoked marijuana when they're younger, we can't have them as a leader. It could be something stupid like that. And then you flush away that person that would have been changed the world to a most amazing place. Not saying he still has to be doing it, because he made the decision to stop when he was young. He just tried it out. So what's that? That shows to me that he conquered something that a lot of people have a hard time conquering. So he learned from that, or she learned from that. We need leaders that are real people, not rich snobs that don't give a shit about real people. But it also needs rich people that give a shit about people, because they also know how business runs. Because you just can't simply put people in power that have no idea how to run a business. There has to be a give and take. There has to be a collaboration, working together with other good people that care about each other. That's leaders, not cowards that we have in power right now. I'm not saying they're all like that, but we all know who they are. I look at our leaders, U.S. and Canada, just for instance, because I look at U.S. and Canada as one country. People might look at me and think, well, that's ridiculous. Well, is it really? I've been to both places. I lived in U.S. for about 3 months or so. I visited many times. Spent a lot of time in the States. It's exactly the same as Canada. The guns are a little different, though, the gun laws. But that's the biggest difference. People are the same. The businesses are the same. So why do we still have big border issues? Why do we even have borders in between U.S. and Canada? It's stupid. When you really think about it, it's absolutely stupid. If you get married with somebody that's from the United States, it's a big, huge deal to get them to come to Canada. I just don't understand it. It's something that we have to learn and to grow from, though. I'm kind of getting off topic, but that's kind of just some of the things I was thinking about in the drive-in today. Have a great day.